Welcome to Cryptid Crossroads 505. I'm Larry.
And I'm Vince,
Welcome to the show.
where we talk all things cryptid,
Sasquatch,
aliens,
hauntings.
and anything paranormal you would like to share with us.
You can reach us at cryptidcrossroads505@gmail.com.
So settle in, open your mind, and enjoy the show.
Hey, welcome to Cryptid Crossroads 505. We're here doing it once again. I'm here with my co-host Vince. Vince, give me a shout out.
Hey, welcome back, and we are doing it once again at the CCR 505 studios.
That's right. So tonight we have a special guest, and she's going to tell us about some of her encounters that she had. But before we get started, as we always do, we're going to do our traditional shot and a shout out to you, our fans. Thank you for listening, and we appreciate you.
And a shout out to our special guest for joining us.
That's right. So
Now, tonight, what we have here is actually ghost ectoplasm.
ghost ectoplasm.
Straight out of Ghostbusters.
Smells like whiskey to me.
Well,
All
fire,
right.
water, whatever you want
All
to call
right.
it.
Down the hatch.
All right.
All right, so we have a special guest on with us tonight. Her name's Terri, and she's going to tell us a little bit about some paranormal encounters she's had. Terri, you there?
I'm here.
All right. I still hear the music.
Oh, you still heard the music?
Yeah.
My boyfriend's doing his DJ stuff.
Okay. Oh, okay. That's a little better.
That
Okay.
better?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to our fans out there, and then we'll get started.
Well, hello, my name's Terri. And I have a story to tell you all.
Okay. All right. Well, why don't you let's just get on with it. Tell us about your story.
Started?
Yep.
Okay, so I worked for a county jail for about 14 years. And when I was on graveyard, I encountered a lot of spooky things, and we named her Sheila. She was in our records file cabinet, and we just ended up naming her and welcoming her to our records department. And then I would be in property sometimes, and I would see like shadows in the room where there's the showers for the inmates.
Right.
So I kind of think she would travel from the records to the property area.
And these are different departments within the jail facility?
Correct.
Okay. So let me ask you a question. Why did you name her or it Sheila?
I don't know. That was just a bunch of us just decided to call her Sheila. Like we went around with some random names, and then we just said Sheila.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea why.
That makes sense to me.
Right.
So what did this entity, this ghost, what did Sheila do? Tell us some of the things that she did.
Well, we have a area of files that have that like wheel turning file thing, and then
Right.
that would be like towards the back, and then we would be sitting where the desk would be at, and then all of a sudden we would hear noises, and it's just us in there. And this, mind you, this is graveyard, so there's hardly any activity.
Right.
So we would hear we knew the file was where it was at, and then all of a sudden it would roll. We were kind of thinking maybe it was just at a slant and it was doing it itself, but no, I really believe it was somebody, because there's been some stories about up the hill and
Right.
what might be buried underneath there.
So that was going to be one of my next questions. Do you think this was an inmate that died while in custody, or do you think that that facility is truly built on maybe a burial ground?
I believe it's both.
Okay.
I also, I'd never seen, because I didn't work back there. I wasn't a correctional officer, but I did hear that one of the units from a retired lieutenant, that she had said that this unit would have ghosts. She would see them. But I never experienced that part, yeah. So
Right.
that might be true as far as the inmates over there in the unit.
Right.
Or is it possible it could be somebody who worked there at one point? That's why they're messing with the filing cabinets and,
Right.
I never thought of that. That might be true.
Well, no, and that shouldn't sound too far fetched, because we've heard that with some other encounters, that people that have died, but they work there, and they don't want to leave.
Right. Their spirit is kind of stuck, so it's going to work every day or night, whatever, and touching things.
Right.
Right.
Oh, that makes sense. I never thought of that.
Now, I got a question. You said it was in different departments that there was activity, but you think it's the same entity, ghost, whatever you want to call it. You don't think there was multiple, or you think it's the same one?
Well, it could have been, but I wanted to believe that it was the same one, just kind of following us records techs
Right.
into the property room. Because it's not connected, but it is. So you would actually have to go through a couple of security doors in order to get back to the property room.
Right.
So where we were at was in the secured property room, and then up in the front area there's a shower room where the COs would take the inmates into shower before they go to a unit.
Right.
And there'd be times that we would hear like our property door kind of shutter, and then sometimes you would see, because we don't see them at all, so there's this big shower curtain right in our big window. So then you would see this like figure just kind of pass by, and sometimes I actually peeked my head in the little shower property door, and there was not a soul in there.
Wow.
Well, so when you had that encounter, did it frighten you? Did you get scared, or did you think?
I freaked out. Yeah, I did. So
Now-
there's always two techs in the property room.
Right.
So one would be at the other side that was intake. Then the other side was also intake, but it was intake and releasing, and they would take in all the property from the inmate and put it in a locker. So then if the other two techs were helping out at the intake window way across, I would say it was probably maybe, it's a lot, like maybe 100 feet or more, maybe,
Now, if
for
you,
the intake window. And,
Right.
and then they, you would hear stuff at the other end when you're both there, and there's nobody on that other side. There's not a releasing officer. There's not a intake officer.
right.
So it's just kind of running around over there.
Now, if you had to work there alone, would you have stayed as long as you did?
Well, there was times I was in there alone. I'd be in the records department all by myself working graveyard with the lights off.
Oh.
So no, I just, that's why I named her. Well, we decided to name her Sheila and say, hey, you want to help us file?
Right. So if you put a name to her and label her, it's kind of like somebody there who's familiar, so not as scary, right?
Right.
Exactly. We
So-
welcomed. Come and join us.
Right. So being that said, this entity wasn't malicious at all. It would just maybe just rustle around and let you know that it was there, but it, like some entities, they're malicious, and they touch, they push, some of them even scratch, from what I've heard. So
Oh, wow. No,
Yeah.
no, that didn't happen.
right.
And right.
Just
And,
like messing with things.
Right.
Right.
And that's why I asked you the question about maybe it was someone who worked there, because maybe if it was an inmate that was in there that possibly died there, or they even left, but they just hated the place so much that a part of them stood there, you'd think they would be malicious.
Right.
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 Yeah, that makes sense.
So that being said, were you the only one, or other people saw these shadow figures and had experiences similar to what you've had?
Yes, with the ladies that would be assigned to records,
Right.
especially on graveyard, and the supervisor.
So that's where it mostly happened, in the records room.
Where I experienced it, yes, and
Right.
in the property room.
Okay, that's kind of strange. Now, I did hear some stories about, since we're on the subject of ghosts, the APD for the city. I heard that they're haunted down there as well. I heard.
Oh, the old
Yes.
jail.
Yes. Well, not the old jail.
That makes sense.
Not the old jail. It's I guess. Do you know in City Hall we have that tunnel that goes over to the sheriff's? So
Yeah.
you could take that underground tunnel. Well, in those areas, because I know one of the girls that came from there, and she came to accounting when I was in accounting, and she told me that, you know, it was haunted. There was one time where she was actually brushed up, where she felt like something touched her, and she freaked out.
Oh wow.
Right.
Yeah, I can see that. I've been down there. It's pretty scary.
Yeah. I've been down there too. I've walked the tunnel of
So
shame.
there's actually a tunnel from
tunnel of
different
shame.
buildings.
Yes.
To me, just that
Where they
tunnel
transport
screams.
the inmates.
It screams being haunted.
Right. Yeah. That's
That brings to mind, what is it, Waverly, or
the Waverly Sanatorium.
because
yes.
they had that underground tunnel where they would the dead bodies.
They put the dead bodies back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah. So
oh my God.
You might dream about this later. My
Right.
apologies.
Right?
no,
I'm
yeah.
Sleep with my lights on tonight.
Yeah, no. If you ever want a good read, just get on your computer and pull up Waverly Sanatorium, and I do believe that's in Louisville, Kentucky.
I can't remember where, but
Yeah.
you might be
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
But do it in the daylight.
Right. So, and someone recently bought that property, and they want to turn it into a nightclub.
Oh man, could you imagine?
I can't. You know what? Well, they were trying to revive it, and they don't want it tore down because of the significance it is to the community, but
Right, the historical.
the historical factor. But you know, they're saying that it may get tore down, but that's why this person bought it. He said we could do like on Halloween tours and then turn a portion of it into a nightclub. And I was like, I don't know if I'd go to that nightclub.
Oh, we would go.
Me neither.
We
I
would
wouldn't
go.
go.
I'd be like, who's touching my bum? I don't
Hey.
see nobody.
and that's why I would go.
Oh, okay. So back to Sheila. So why do you think that Sheila is hanging around? What's your opinion on this entity, this ghost, this Sheila person that doesn't want to leave?
Well, I'm thinking maybe what you said, that someone that worked there before and just has their presence there. I didn't think about that. I just thought it was somebody that was either buried underneath the property or an inmate that died.
Right, and if she worked there, for a long time, it could be like what they call a residual haunting.
Residual
where
haunting.
they go through the motions and they do the same thing. That's why she's touching the filing cabinets and stuff.
Right. And it would happen.
Oh,
Residual hauntings happen every day or oftenly at the same time. So it's like putting the VCR on repeat. It loops. It's kind of a loop is what they call it. The same thing happens all the time at certain times.
Right, and an
That's crazy.
intelligent haunting, there would be more interaction with you.
Right.
okay.
And then a poltergeist would be crazy noisy, and
Right.
you definitely know that it's there. It'd be violent.
Yeah, they have the ability to
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
throw things and
Right.
move things.
Yeah.
and-
Yeah. So those are the different type
Well-
of hauntings.
Other thing too is maybe Sheila was in her moods on those days that she was messing with the files or messing with the property lockers or the doors in the property.
Right, right. Yeah, it's possible she could be pissed off. She could say, "Hey, I didn't get paid shit, and look what you guys get. So she's
Right? or you know, Sheila could be saying, you know, giving you that Tone Loc song, saying Sheila was a man, saying, you know, saying you guys are you're calling me Sheila and I'm a man.
right. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
didn't think of that.
It's kind of smart the way you guys gave it a name and kind of accepted it, so it's not as scary or not as bad, because like me and my brother, we both lived in the same house in Gallup, and that place is definitely haunted.
Right.
And I've never thought about welcoming or
No.
you know when it happened, it was pretty new. At least that level of haunting, and it used to freak me out. It used to freak my kids out.
No,
Wow.
I've had my encounters in that house as well. You know, you would hear footsteps constantly. If you know, one time, I'll just tell you my quick story with that house. One time, me and my first wife were there, and my daughter was just born. And I don't know if I shared this with you, but during the night, I'd say about 2-3 in the morning, I sat straight up like I was in a deep dark dream, and I sat straight up, and I felt we put our daughter, who she was a newborn, in bed with us.
Mm-hmm.
She was between us. Well, when I sat up, the first thing I did is I felt, and she was gone. And so I woke up my ex-wife and my wife at that time, and I said, "Where's Laura? Where's our daughter?" And she woke up and she kind of freaked out, and she was like, "I don't know." Well, when we turned on the light, we had a king-size waterbed. She was at the far left-hand corner of the waterbed, like swaddled, wrapped up, and she was laying there. So once we grabbed her, immediately she had a little poodle, and that poodle ran toward the door, and it just looked at the door, nothing in the door, but it was growling. And so I started getting freaked out. I'm like, oh shit, I thought someone was in the house. And in the house down the hall is a back room where I kept my hunting rifle. And I heard that closet door, well, what I thought I heard, slide open and go toop, just like it opened and made the clunk against the other wood. So I said, oh my God, my rifle's in there. So I creeped into the next room and I flipped on the light expecting to see someone, you know, going through that closet, and the closet door was shut and there was nothing in there. And it just freaked me out. But even before that, we would constantly hear footsteps and
Right.
and
That's-
Oh my God.
other noises.
That's another thing I would hear and my kids would hear. And,
Right.
but you know, after a while, you kind of get accustomed to it. Now, did you feel when you're working there that you got accustomed to Sheila being around, so it didn't bother you as much?
Oh yes, definitely.
Well, and obviously,
Yeah, she didn't bother at all.
oh, okay.
Or
Especially after we named her.
right, or in some instances, you just you block it out. You know, they say that ghosts feed on your energy, and if you don't give them the reaction, they stop doing it.
Right. Right. Yeah. They feed on the fear, the negative energy.
Depending
Not
on
all.
Well,
not
I
all of
could
them.
say that. I could say that when new employees would get hired and we would be on graveyard and we'd be training them,
Right.
they would freak out. We would just have to tell them, "Oh, that's Sheila. She likes to come in the files.
Yeah.
Don't mind her."
Right. I don't know if I would have
They looked
freaked
at us
out.
like we were crazy.
I would have probably started setting up infrared cameras and saying we're going to catch us.
No, I would have spent my night sleeping and hiding. And when they tell me, "How come your work's not done?" I told Sheila to do it.
Damn her! She didn't do it.
Exactly.
She's in
That's right.
trouble. We need to write her up.
Right. And she doesn't even clock in.
Now, me and my brother were talking about this before we got on mic, and we called you. Now, do you have a theory? Why do you think some ghosts hang around? You know, the theory is we're both raised Catholic, so they say you die, you go to heaven, and blah blah, or hell, wherever you're going. Now, why are there
Right.
still some ghosts here, some spirits?
Right.
Well, I believe that too. You know, I was raised Catholic as well. My personal opinion is I think that they're like stuck.
Okay.
Right.
They just don't know. where to go, or maybe they don't believe. That might be another reason
That's
too.
a possibility, right?
Right.
Now, how about maybe they didn't have closure in their life, so they're still restless.
Correct.
Well,
Yeah.
we talked about here. You've heard this before, that he will come again to judge the living and the dead. So that tells me they don't go to heaven yet until he comes and judges them.
Well, yeah, I mean that's one theory, but I've heard these mediums say that they weren't ready to cross, or that they weren't ready to cross. They have unfinished business, so they're trying to stick around, but they're sticking around in a realm that that they can't get the business done, and so there's two sides to the story. There's those that say, well, they have unfinished business and they're not ready to cross, so we got to help them. We got to show them the way and help them cross. But then on the flip side of that coin, I'm like, well, what about the ones that are malicious, that have evil intentions, that are out there scaring the hell out of everybody, and they enjoy it? I'm like, what, were they just not ready to cross because they wanted to be mean and malicious?
Or they could be generally bad people.
And some religious people tell me that they're not people, they're demons. They're demons that are acting like people, and that's why, because they bring it back to the Bible, and they're like, once you die, you're dead, and I'm like, well, that's yet to be seen, because like you yourself just said, you've had experiences with Sheila in the record room. So, like I was telling my brother, we may not ever know until it's our time.
Very true.
Right, but
very true. I'm going to have to ask some of my friends that still work there to see if she's still there.
Right.
I've been gone for like almost 2 years,
Right.
3 years.
Now,
And, I'll have to ask.
now, if they say she's not, is there a possibility she moved on, or she attached to somebody and went home with them?
I was going to ask that same question, because sometimes they do attach and they follow the person home or wherever they go, and they won't leave that person.
Right.
Oh
Now-
my God, that's funny you say that, because I'm thinking where I work now, I
You
I
think-
hear in the bathroom somebody going in, and there's never the door open. There's nobody in there.
Right.
So
I remember you. I remember you telling me that. So maybe she attached herself to you, Terry.
Right.
to me,
Well, you never know. And I told my brother this. We had a relative in UNM hospital, and we were there pretty much around the clock.
Right.
Now, one night, I don't know, it was late. We're all in the waiting area, and I went into the restroom, and while I was in there, there was somebody else in there walking around. I heard the footsteps, but I was all alone. Now, I don't know if that was maybe somebody who died in the hospital. It's hard to say, or somebody who went back.
Well, it's hard to say, and the hospitals have so many of these entities. I don't know if I told you, but where my wife used to work, they had one, and it was a little girl that everyone saw, and she had black eyes. Well, she did attach herself to one of the workers, because that woman called my wife and said, "You'll never guess who I just saw in my house." And
oh my gosh.
yeah, and so I don't know if that entity's still roaming the halls of her old job, or if once it attached to her coworker, it's now at her house.
She has a home. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So-
Now,
Wow.
I want a little real quick story, having to do with hauntings. Now, my daughter, my sister wanted to take her to meet a medium, because my daughter could see things. And she was one of the worst affected when we lived in Gallup by that house that was haunted. She heard, she seen. There was times she was a little child, 4 years old, and she would freak out because she said somebody would whisper her name in her ear. But when we moved to Albuquerque, I'm in a new area. It's a new subdivision, brand new house, on brand new land. But yet she could see people in the house. And it was weird. I bought a bed. It was a used bed, because we basically came with the shirts on our back, and it was a nice sleep number, king size, and I got it for like nothing. But on there's a cover, I can never get a stain out, and I know you're gonna freak out because there's a red stain. But I'm thinking there was something attached to that bed, because every time my daughter would come to my room, she would close my closet door, and I told her, "Why do you do that?" She said, "Because there's an old lady standing there just staring at you." But
Oh my God, that's freaky.
yeah, but then again, we're in that area. We live on the West Mesa, a stone's throw
From
where they dug up those groves. You remember?
Right.
A stone's throw from there.
Right. So interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So,
But that's why I believe, I don't know, were they there? Did they attach to us and come from Gallup? See?
we don't know.
Right.
We don't know. But there's just a lot of places in this city that I'm coming to find that are really haunted. And I'm telling my brother, we need to get either into these places or get people that work at these places to share their experiences, because that's what we're all about.
Right. And we got to find like a really haunted location
Right.
to go to. But we'll send Terry first.
Right. Just in,
Yeah, okay.
just in case something wants to attach itself.
Right. Just in case it's really scary.
Right.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, no, thank you.
All right.
Yeah. No, me and my brother, I don't know, maybe we're kind of weird. We're like into that. We're not like into it, but we just want to know.
Yes. I mean, don't you having the experiences, don't you sometimes think about what we've just talked about? Why didn't they move on? Why are they here? Is it truly the spirit of this person, or is it, like some people say, a demon? And who knows, you know?
Well, I think about, like, you watch that movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore,
Right.
like that.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
there's
Right.
the demons that went below, and then the angels that go up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's this is truly going to be a question that none of us will know the answer to 100% until we pass.
Right.
You
It's
know?
just like anything we're into, it's all theory.
Right. It's just, it is. The aliens are theory, hauntings are their theory. The only thing we know that is not theory is Bigfoot, Sasquatch.
Yep, because we're related to it. No, but
Oh my God.
no, but that's a different podcast.
That's
But
a whole nother story.
That's a whole different
that's a
story.
whole other story. And
Yeah.
I like to say I'm not a believer. I'm a knower.
Right. Right.
So true.
But anyway, Terry, we thank you for sharing your story with us. And if you have any more, you're more than welcome to come on anytime and
Right.
tell those as well.
All right. Sounds
Right.
good. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, no
This was
problem.
very interesting.
Yeah, now I know why she had the music so loud in the beginning, so she can't hear the ghosts wrestling.
Oh, that's right.
Right?
But if you see some spirits there dancing, pull out your camera.
That's right.
I will, for sure.
That's right. All
I
right.
will. Most definitely. Well, thank you.
Hey, thanks for sharing,
Yeah,
Terry.
thank you for coming on. We appreciate it.
Right.
You're welcome.
All right.
Have a good one.
You too. All right.
Good.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And that was Terry. That was interesting.
That was an interesting story, and what she said. This is now all of you that are following us. You know we're from New Mexico, so this is a local story that this activity is taking place in one of our facilities where they may
Right.
lock you up if you come.
Right. If you come, or they may just put you up if your car's stolen while you're here.
That's right.
Now it's this one was pretty, like you said, it's local, so pretty special to us because we like these.
It is.
Because New Mexico is rich with hauntings, with aliens, with Bigfoot, but they don't come on the maps as so.
No, and you know what? When it comes to this type of activity, we're really like unknown for it, but yet we're steeped in the cultures we have that believe in hauntings. The tribes, all the native tribes around here. There's just so much that goes on in New Mexico, and people around the world or even the next state over don't have no idea. And I'm sure that there's hauntings in other states that we have no idea about, but
Well, I'm sure in every state,
I'm sure.
because we're, as far as country goes, we're a pretty young country, but there's been people here.
Right.
Now, like here in New Mexico, especially, we have a lot of different tribes of
lot.
First Nations.
That's right.
You know, but like they say, you get a lot of activity if your building's built on a cemetery. Here, I'm sure there are scattered grave sites.
Everywhere.
Just along the trail, somebody died, they had to bury them, and
Randomly. And not only that, let's think about this before we became the modern society we were. If you were living on your little homestead and someone died,
you bury them there.
you buried them there. You didn't take them to a mortuary. You just put them in the ground right there, and that's where they rested. I think mortuaries, the way we do it today, it's just all money based. It's become a corporate entity in itself.
Right, it's another commercial gimmick.
Right,
where
it's gimmick as
get
to
your
where,
money.
and back in the day when they would, like the Vikings, when they'd put you on a pyre and burn your body, cremate you, that's your ashes were just, they went where the wind went.
Right.
Nowadays,
Your energy was released.
that's right. Nowadays they say you can't do this, you can't do that. I'm like, I get it. It's some things are for health reasons, but if you put a person deep enough, you don't got to worry about the health reasons. It's just a shame what you got to pay to bury someone today.
Right.
And you pay that money, and as we've heard, sometimes they just don't leave. So
Right.
you wasted your money.
Right. Now, as far as burying somebody, you said deep enough, but animals die in the forest every day.
Every day. But the forest reclaims them, or they get eaten by other animals.
But if not, they decompose into the ground, and that's what we do. So
That's right.
why are we paying $10,000?
Right. But we need to be put in the ground, because if you've ever seen how a pig decomposes, and there could be a lot of disease and things spread.
Well,
but
I was leaning more toward cremation, like we talked.
oh
about.
yeah, no. I think if you're cremated, spread your ashes wherever you want.
Right, and we talked about that. So when it comes to that kind of thing, the law is kind of more of a guideline.
Right.
You didn't.
More
no,
of
no.
more of a suggestion.
Right.
But anyway, we thank Terri for coming on and sharing her story. It was a good story. It's, well, we say a story, but she was actually having paranormal activity out there.
Yeah, not really a story, because you think story could be
Right, and this wasn't a story. It was her experience,
Her
personal
experience.
experience.
That's the word.
That's the word we're looking for. And I just want to say thanks, because it takes a lot of guts. A lot of people will share things with us, but they don't want to come on and talk about it.
Right, and we've both had a lot of people work wherever that tell us they have stories, but they don't want to come on.
Right.
Or they said, I will, but they never get around to it.
That's right. So if you have a story, reach out to us.
Reach out. Come on. We want to hear it.
That's right. Anyway, thanks for listening tonight. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.
Stay tuned.
Hey, thanks for watching.
We hope all you YouTubers enjoyed the show.
That's right. And don't forget to reach out to us at cryptidcrossroads505@gmail.com.
Peace.
Peace.